Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel, the designer behind Evelyn and Peter, and today I'm going to show you guys how to do the stitch that's used in my Kairi cardigan. So I'm just using a worsted weight cotton yarn. This is from We Crochet and Knit Picks. It is worsted shine, and then you're also going to need a 5.5mm crochet hook. So in this video, I'm just going to be working up the gauge swatch that is required within the pattern. So I recommend following along so you guys can do it too. To begin, you're just going to start off with a slip knot and then just grab the yarn and pull it through and insert your hook, pull tight to secure. And in the gauge, you are going to be chaining 20. So you are going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and every time you do that, that is one chain. So you're going to do this a total of 20 times for the gauge swatch. So go ahead and chain 20. And then before we get started on the main rows, I wanted to point out that in the actual main body and the actual pattern of this cardigan, you will have ribbing below this, but just for the sake of the gauge swatch, we are going to be working in the chain length. So this would be ribbing in the actual pattern, but at this point we'll be working our first row into the chain instead of the ribbing rows. So to start off, you're going to work one single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So insert your hook into the second chain from your hook and then work one single crochet stitch and then work a second single crochet stitch in the following chain. And then after that, we're going to be skipping the next 3 chains. So if this was the main body of the pattern, you would be skipping 3 rows of the ribbing. But since this is just the swatch, you're going to skip over those 3 chains. So chain 5, skip over the next 3 chains, and then work your single crochet into the 4th stitch. And then after that, you're going to work 2 more single crochet. So you'll have a total of 3 single crochet next to each other. So in the following chain, work your second single crochet. So just yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then work a third single crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 3 single crochet, and then we're just going to repeat that same thing again. So chain 5, and then skip over the next 3 chains of our starting chain. And in that 4th chain, you can work another single crochet. So insert your hook, work a single crochet, and then work another single crochet directly after that, and then work a third single crochet in the next chain. And once you have 5 chains remaining, you're just going to again skip over those 3. So we're going to chain 5, 3, 4, and 5, and then skip over the next 3 chains, and then work another single crochet in the chain directly after that. And then you're going to work your final single crochet into the final chain. So you'll have 2 single crochet here at the end. So that completes row 1. This is what it looks like. And in the pattern, row 1 is considered the wrong side of the pattern, so just take note of that as well. And now we're going to begin row 2. So just go ahead and turn your work, and then to start off row 2, you're going to chain 3. So yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook 3 times. And then that is considered our first double crochet. So we're going to count that as our first double crochet stitch. And then in the very following stitch, you're going to work another double crochet. So do that in the stitch directly after your chain 3. And then we're coming up to our chain 5 space. And so what we are going to do here is chain 1, and then we are going to work 1 single crochet into that space. So chain 1, and then insert your hook and just work a single crochet. And you can work it directly into the chain space. You do not have to work it into the chain itself. And then after that, you can chain one again. And in these following single crochets from the row below, we're going to work one double crochet stitch into each of them. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, and yarn over, pull through two. That's one double crochet, and you're going to do this in every one of those single crochet stitches. So you should have a total of 3 double crochet. And then basically we're just going to repeat this across, so chain one, and then in the chain 5 space you can work your single crochet, and then chain one again, and then you're going to work your 3 double crochet into the 3 single crochets from the row below. And then when you come up to your final chain 5 space, you're going to chain one, work another single crochet into that chain 5 space, and then chain one again. And then you're going to work one double crochet into that single crochet. You can see we have 2 single crochet here at the end of the row. So work one double crochet into that first one, and then work another double crochet into that very last single crochet. So you'll have a total of 2 double crochets here at the end. And that completes row 2. I also wanted to point out before we move on that these chain 5 spaces are what I use in the cardigan pattern to point out the stitch count. So you can see here we have 3 chain 5 spaces, so this would be considered to have a stitch count of 3 chain 5 spaces at the end, and that's what I use in the pattern so that you can make sure you're on track and you have the correct amount of stitches. I just think it's a lot easier than trying to count out the stitches or the pattern repeats. So just a little FYI for you. So then we can go ahead and turn our work and start row 3. And to begin this row, you're going to chain 5. And this chain 5 counts as 1 double crochet stitch and a chain 2. So the 1, 2, 3 chains that we just did is our double crochet, and then these final 2 count as a chain 2. So after you've chained 5, we're going to be working our first stitch into the chain 1 space below. So work 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space, and then in the single crochet right next to it you can work a single crochet, and then in the next chain 1 space right after that stitch you can work a 3rd single crochet. So we have 3 single crochets in a row, and then we are going to chain 5. And then we're going to skip directly over those 3 double crochets. You can skip over all 3 of them, and then in the next chain 1 space work a single crochet, and in the next single crochet work a single crochet, and then in the next chain 1 space work another single crochet. So then we have 3 single crochet in a row. And then again we're going to skip over those double crochets, so you can chain 5, skip right over the double crochets, work a single crochet into the chain 1 space, a single crochet into the single crochet, and then another single crochet into the chain 1 space. And then we are at the end of our row here, and we have 2 stitches left. So for this point of the pattern you're going to chain 2, and then in the chain 3 that we say is counted as a double crochet is where you're going to be working your stitch. So in the top of the chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, you'll be working your final double crochet stitch. And that completes row 3. So now you can go ahead and turn your work, and we're going to start row 4. So to begin row 4, you just need to chain 1. And then in that very first stitch below, you're going to work 1 single crochet. So into that same stitch, work a single crochet, and then chain 1. And then in the next 3 single crochets that we have in the row below is where we will be working our stitches. So work a double crochet into that first single crochet, another double crochet in the one right next to it, and then a 3rd double crochet in the last single crochet of that little group. So now we have 3 double crochets in a row that were all worked into the 3 single crochets, chain 1, and then here is our chain 5 space. Going to work 1 single crochet into it, chain 1 again, and then when you get to the next 3 single crochets, we're going to do the same thing. So work your first double crochet into the first one, your second double crochet into the second one, and then your third double crochet into the third stitch. And then again, we're reaching our chain 5 space, so chain 1, work a single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 1 again. And when we get to these last 3 single crochets, we're going to do the same thing, work 1 double crochet stitch into each one. And then after that, we're going to finish by chaining 1 again. And then now you can see that we have our turning chain of 5, which again counts as 1 double crochet and a chain 2. So you're going to chain 1 and then work your final stitch into the third chain of the turning chain. So work your single crochet stitch into that third chain, so the center chain of the chain 5 is where you'll be putting your hook because that counts as the top of our double crochet stitch. So insert your hook into the third chain and then just work your final single crochet, and that completes row 4. So now we will be starting row 5. To begin that one, just chain 1, and then in the first stitch from the row below, work 1 single crochet, and then in the chain space directly after it, you're going to work another single crochet. So don't skip anything, just insert your hook into that very first chain 1 space and work a single crochet stitch. And then now we will be chaining 5 and skipping over those 3 double crochets from the row below. And in the next chain 1 space, you can work 1 single crochet stitch. And in the single crochet after that, work 1 single crochet. And then into the following chain 1 space, work another single crochet. So again, this is our group of 3 single crochets. Skip over those double crochets again, so chain 5, and then skip right over the 3 double crochets, and in the next chain 1 space, and in the next single crochet, and the next chain 1 space after that, work 3 single crochets. And then we're going to do the same thing, chain 5, skip over those 3 double crochets, and in that last chain 1 space, work a single crochet. And then in the final single crochet of the row, you're going to work another single crochet. So work the single crochet into the chain 1 space, and then our last single crochet here into the very last stitch of the row. It's kind of hard to see, so make sure you don't skip over it or miss it. So that completes row 5, and now we are just going to be repeating these rows over again to continue the gauge swatch. So the pattern repeat is rows 2 through 5. So for the next 4 rows, you're going to repeat the row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. So our next row will be a row 2 repeat. If you need to go back and re-watch to remind yourself what to do, you can do that. So our very next row will be a row 2 repeat, and then a row 3 repeat, and then a row 4 repeat, and then a row 5 repeat. And then I will meet you guys back here and show you the final row, which will just be another row repeat. And then I will show you guys the measurements. So just a reminder, this next row is a row 2 repeat. And for that you chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet. and then you'd work your double crochet into the stitch next to it, and then it's just the same thing like we did in the previous row 2. You chain 1, work your single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 1, and just continue across. So again, this is a row 2 repeat, and then work a row 3, work a row 4, work a row 5, and then we're just going to have one more row 2 repeat after that, and we will measure our gauge swatches. Okay, so at this point you should have repeated rows 2 through 5 again. So now I have a total of 9 rows. So we did rows 1 through 5, and then we repeated rows 2 through 5. So at this point we're just going to add one more row because our last row here was the chain row, and that makes it a little difficult to measure. So we're just going to repeat row 2 one more time for a total of 10 rows for this swatch. So you can go ahead and turn your work. And with the row 2 repeat, we're just going to chain 3 and then work a double crochet into the following stitch. And then we're going to chain 1, work 1 single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 1 again, and then work 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then just repeat that across the row. So after you've worked your 3rd double crochet, you can chain 1, work a single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 1, work 3 more double crochet, and then go ahead and chain 1, work a single crochet into this final chain 5 space, chain 1 again, and then work a double crochet into the second from last stitch, and then a double crochet into the last stitch. So we'll be finishing the row with 2 double crochet. So go ahead and grab your measuring tape, and we're just going to measure the width across. So lay your swatch out in front of you, and then take your measuring tape and just measure across, and mine ended up being about 5.5 inches wide. And then we're also going to measure the length, and mine was just about 4.5 inches. I hope this video was helpful for you guys in terms of figuring out the gauge swatch and also learning the stitches within this pattern. Thank you guys so much for watching.